Welcome back to FM Live. My name's Mike, and today we are going to be talking about glove compartments. Yeah, I know. Maybe not what you thought, exciting turbos, power, that kind of stuff, but we're going to take it slow a little bit today and talk about creature comforts. And this is important because, as many of you know that own a 2016 through 18 ND Miata, or ND1, that there's not a lot of storage room in your car. It's basically you can stick a few thin mints and like your sunglasses in the cubby, and that's kind of it. So what we've come up with is a retrofit to install the ND2 glove box or cubby, or however you want to call it, that's in between the seats, into your ND1, so that way you can actually fit some reasonably sized gear or luggage in the car with you. So it's a very simple thing. Here I've got both of the boxes at a glance. They kind of look the same. The difference, though, is that this being the ND1 glove compartment or center storage compartment, you would normally have your radio hanging out down below it like that. And on the ND2s, what Mazda did, because they realized that people don't use CDs anymore, that's what Bluetooth and phones are for, right? They decided to get rid of that altogether, and so the box has a deeper bottom to it. Now, comparing this one to this one, just looking at the bottoms, you can see there's a recess where these fins are, basically, and with this one, it's flat on the bottom. So these boxes, it's basically a straightforward swap. It's getting rid of where that radio is, so you get behind the seats, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a second, but you get behind the seats, unplug, unbolt your radio, you pull this box out, you put this one in, and now you have a deeper storage compartment. It's about 2 inches more capacity below what you have currently. So now you can fit in more than just your sunglasses tray or your thin mints, or whatever you carry back there. I don't know. So a few questions that we got about this for why would you want to do this. It's simply creature comforts, being able to store stuff. Another thing that you probably are aware of in the ND is that these cup holders, they look cool, but they're kind of awkward to store anywhere. You can put them in these earlier style glove boxes, but see, they don't go all the way in because it's not deep enough. So if you put these in here, you can't really put anything else in there. Whereas in these deeper ones, you can fit them in here. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the optional shelf upgrade. We'll talk about that more in just a little bit. But these ones, since they're so much deeper, you can fit your cup holders in there with plenty of room to spare. So that's it. Pretty basic upgrade. These guys, they do delete the CD player, and as part of the kit, we include these block-off plates. They're just little cover plates that snap in very easy. These are all Mazda factory parts, so all of the plastic texture will be identical to what you see on your current back wall there. It matches, everything lines up. And because they are Mazda parts, you don't have to worry about things not fitting. All of the attachment points that it shares between the boxes, which is right here and right here on both sides, they're all the same. They use the same mold making process, so everything fits up perfectly like it was intended, because it is. So let's talk a little bit more about some of the questions that we got before we continue on with some of the more specific stuff about the fitment of these guys. Some questions that we had gotten is, how does it look upgraded after everything's all said and done? If you close the door, it looks identical except for this cover piece. So we've got a panel here out of the car that you can see has the hole down here for where the stereo, well, I say stereo, the CD player used to be. This just pops in place. Oops, I think I've got it upside down here. And just like that, it covers it up. Otherwise, without having your CD player face there, which is pretty bland anyway, that's the only difference that you notice on the outside. On the inside, of course, it looks pretty much the same. Got all your extra, common stuff stored in here, right? But you just have more room. So visually, it doesn't look very different at all on the outside. And what exactly are the differences between the ND1 and ND2? Well, we've covered them as far as that it's deeper, but it actually goes further than that. There's also a difference between soft top and retractable fastback as well. And it is specific to the car, and I suppose you could put a retractable fastback cubby into a soft top. Actually, I'm being told that you can't, because I know basically that the big difference here is that you've got more space. It goes further back towards the back of the car. This one is a soft top version, is what I'm just getting confirmation now. Apparently I'm sticking my foot in my mouth too much. The deeper one is a soft top version. It goes further back towards the back of the car, whereas this is the retractable fastback version. And the reason why it's shorter is because you have that mechanism of the top that takes up more room. So the boxes have to be a little bit narrower or not quite as deep back towards the back of the car. But otherwise, they're very similar. You can kind of tell by looking at them here that the design overall, the front portion of it, is very, very close. But that's why there's a difference between the soft top and the retractable fastback, is because of the depth from front to back. But the ND1 versus ND2 is about the depth from top to bottom, where both the soft top and the retractable fastback have this empty space to accommodate for the CD player that nobody uses. But otherwise, very, very much visually similar. Another question that we got is, can you utilize the old CD slot as a cubby hole? Sure. It doesn't have a separate compartment now, but if you wanted to leave it open, I guess you didn't have to install this, but it's all part of the same thing now that you have this. You'll have part of this in the way. It'll be kind of awkward. Short answer is, I guess if you really wanted to, you could, but I think it would look a little bit unfinished, a little awkward. And can you make one of these fit an NA or NB, and for that matter, an NC? They aren't intended for the earlier chassis, so could you, if you really, really wanted to? I'm sure you could fabricate your own mounts too, but there really isn't accommodation for them in the earlier chassis, because that's just not how those cars are designed. These are really ND-specific, ND1-specific kind of upgrades. Another question about the box is if you could run an AC line to the glove box to make it a cool box. Sure, if you want to. That would be lots of custom fabrication. But if you wanted to make this into a little cooler, awesome. That would be awesome. We don't have a kit for that, sorry. And then lastly, because this is a little bit of a new early on kind of thing for us, one of the questions was, when will we have more in stock? We currently have some of the RF versions in stock, ready to go. The soft top ones we actually sold out of pretty early, and because of you're gaining extra depth this way, it's just that much more than the RF version. I'm not surprised that they sold out as quickly as they did, but we are intending to get more in stock probably the second or third week of February. So if you're watching this video in the future, sometime past February 2021, we'll probably have these in stock, or at least we will try very hard to keep them in stock as much as we can. But for right now, the soft top versions just give us a few more weeks and we should have some more on hand ready to go. One of the other cool things that, because it is a factory shelf that you can utilize, or factory cubby, I should say, I'm already too excited talking about shelves before we get there, are these little aftermarket shelving pieces. So they are aluminum, but they're coated with a very, I'm not sure what you call it, but it's kind of like a almost a rubberized feeling coating. I don't know if it actually has rubber or what, but it feels very nice. It has a very tactile, pleasant feel to it. But you can see it's very simple. It's just a flat piece of aluminum with some slot adapters cut into it. And these guys fit into these handy little 3 slots that are in the back of the cubby. And this works on ND1s, ND2s. They all have the same slots in them. But you can see here that if you want to partition the cubbies, especially these deeper ones, now you can utilize the space a little bit more smartly. That way you can keep your sunglasses up here, or, you know, if you've got room for your keys or your mints or whatever, you know, you can keep your light stuff up on top. Then you have the bottom that you can put your owner's manual in, or you can put your cup holders. Because even though the shelf does cut in here a little bit, and it does make it just a little bit intrusive for these guys, if you spin them just right, they go down inside and still fit. You can still fit both of them pretty easily inside the cubby with the shelf. So, very, very easy upgrade. They install literally in seconds. When you put them into the door, you tilt them up, put them in place, bang, bang, boom, you're ready to go. No tools required. Now, that can't be said, unfortunately, for the cubbies. When you install the ND cubby or the ND2 cubby into the ND1, you do have to take out pretty much all of the plastics in the car from the dash back. So your center console, your door sills, all of the plastics behind the seats have to come out, because you basically need to get to where you can take out this whole piece as an entire unit. It's not terribly hard. It's just lots of little plastic fasteners that you have to unhook from different locations because they all snap together, and that's how the plastics are held into the car. But you can do it by just leaning the seats forward and pulling all the stuff out, or you can take the seats out if it's a little bit easier. But plan on probably 30 minutes to an hour, just because you'll need to take out lots of little plastic fasteners that get popped into the different locations. But once you're there, all you need is a screwdriver. It's held in by 4 little screws, 2 at the top and 2 at the sides. So, very easy. As long as you're patient and you don't go ape on the plastics, you'll be fine. So, let's take a look at one of these installed in the car, because we've looked at them here on the bench and they're kind of awkward looking plastic pieces. So, we have one installed in the car, and we'll show you what it looks like and what to expect. So, as I mentioned, it looks pretty much the same. There's not really anything to look at on the outside that looks different. If you didn't know any better, you'd probably think this was an ND2 interior, because it has the blanking plate here for the factory radio that we removed. But on the inside, you've got a lot more depth. Got a lot more room under here. You can take your big factory owner's manual, stick it in there. You've got plenty of room. You can also take the cup holders, as I mentioned, and stick them in there, and it almost disappears. It's very handy to have this much room. Stick your wallet in there, stick your registration, you know, whatever. Because this little cubby is good for, well, here, we've got an extra set of gloves and then some extra little bits of hardware. But you can't really stick much else in here other than maybe like a tube of chapstick. So, you can also see the shelf that's here in situ. It's just sitting on 2 little ledges on the inside, and then has those 3 tabs locating it in the back. It's very sturdy, much sturdier than the plastic that's around it, so you don't have to worry about it breaking or having issues holding stuff up. But overall, very factory looking, very functional, and now you don't even know that there's a difference. It very much blends in. So, not a flashy piece, but overall something that we really think is a handy bit of kit to have, especially if this is a car that you drive more often than not, if you want to be able to keep more things in it, but not necessarily want to have them sitting in your chair or in the floorboard or, you know, stuck on your dash or whatever the case. If you want to be able to put it away when you're done, having the little extended cubby is a good way to do it. So, seems like we have a few questions, so let's answer some questions here. Go ahead, Kyle, what do we have?
Are there any mods to increase the storage in the cubbies that are behind the seats?
That's a great question. And for those of you that didn't hear the question, I don't know if the mic is picking it up. the question was, is there a way to increase the amount of capacity for these guys? And ND1 owners will know what these look like, or at least have seen the insides, because it's this fabric. ND2s, I think, have maybe like a plastic one. But they're just little cubbies that you have to either move your seats forward or lean them forward to be able to get access to. And they just have, oh look, more cup holders. They just have more room in here to store random odds and ends. Kind of looks like a vacuum cleaner bag on your mother's old Bissell, but they work. The short answer is we don't have a kit for these. I suppose if you really wanted to increase the capacity, you probably could take these out. They just have little clips that they would come out with on the backside here, and some Velcro. And so if you wanted to, I suppose you could take them down to your local upholstery shop and ask them to make you make some bigger ones, or maybe take your mother's old Bissell vacuum and get the bag off of it and put some Velcro on the inside, because that might work just as well. But unfortunately, no, we don't have a kit for it at the moment. Maybe we'll look into it. I'll pass that along. Any other questions?
None from the interweb.
Okay, I've answered all of the questions about ND glove box, storage compartments, and sundry details. Okay, if you are interested in a cubby like this, if you want to upgrade your ND1 cubby to an ND2, so that way you can have more room to store more things, and if you want to have this fancy-dancy shelf that comes from MX-5 Things, great guys that provide these shelves for us that we're stocking. Both of these items are available from FlyinMiata.com. We'll have links in the description below, so that way you can access them easily. And if you have any questions about any of this kind of stuff, give us a call or send us an email. Let us know. We'd be happy to talk more about them, but very, very easy. Creature comfort kind of stuff. If you like enjoying sitting in your car, driving your car, especially long distance, or if you daily drive it, these are great, simple upgrades that make a big difference for just what seems like a small thing. So, thumbs up for me. I really like it. Again, if you have any questions, let us know. We'd be happy to talk more about it, and of other things as well. So give us a call or send us an email. We also have, of course, our Facebook page and Instagram, so you can contact us via those methods as well. And I think that's it for today. So thanks again. We appreciate your company, and we will see you next week, Thursday at 2 o'clock Mountain Time. And I think that's all for us today. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time. Keep on boosting.